Selling is a skill, not a game of blackjack where you're hoping to get the right card to make your hand, right? You're hoping to get the right call. That's all I hear about is like, need better calls, better calls, better calls, better calls. Like, better tech, better salesperson, better communicator. I love Jim Rohn's quote. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better.
Welcome to the Waste No Day podcast, a podcast specifically for and about the home services industry as it relates to plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. More than a podcast, Waste No Day is a credo, a determination, a mindset. It is a never-ending discipline. It is a refuse to lose pursuit. It is a wake-up call every morning to waste no day. Now here's your hosts, Brian Burton and Nate Minnick.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Waste No Day podcast. Your hosts, Nate and Brian, hanging out with you again. Looking forward to another great episode. It's just going to be the two of us today, but we're going to be talking about a great topic, and that is the top 5 mistakes that salespeople make. I'm sure you're going to be interested in learning more about that. It's time we get back to a little bit of a sales-focused episode, and no one better than Mr. Brian Burton to help give us some context on that tonight or this morning, whenever you're listening. Before we do get into the meat of the episode, we're going to have a little bit of an introduction here, and we're going to kick it off, as always, with a quote from Brian.
My experience has taught me that a man is never quite so near success as when that which he calls failure has overtaken him. If he thinks accurately and with persistence, he discovers that so-called failure usually is nothing more than a signal to rearm himself with a new plan or purpose. Most real failures are due to limitations which men set up in their own minds. If they had the courage to go one step further, they would discover their error. Napoleon Hill. Not Think and Grow Rich, but Outwitting the Devil.
Yeah, that was a book that actually Mr. Jason Nemes mentioned on his Wiser Wednesday the other week.
Yep. Yeah. And he was like so into it. I remembered liking the book and being like, this is great, but compared to like Think and Grow Rich or some of the older, it didn't help that the book was written in, I think, 1938.
Yeah.
And didn't get released till like the mid 2000s. But like, I liked it and it's a good book, but I wasn't like, oh, this is better than, Think and Grow Rich or whatever. It's a great book. A lot about his failures and mistakes he made and then kind of powering through. And yeah, but everybody should read it. If it has Napoleon Hill as an author, it's worth a read.
Well, and that quote too, it really makes me think about how it's so difficult to really understand in the moment any of those things. Like in the moment that, this is you're almost there, or in the moment that the seeming failure is just another part of the process. There's other areas of life like that too, like sometimes like family time or like a circumstance with your kids or something like that. And in the moment, you don't really recognize the significance of it at the time. But then like months and years later, you like look back and you see that was a turning point, or that was a core memory or a decision time, or like something that was super impactful on memories. Or like, you're talking to your adult children and they're like, hey, you remember that time when we did this? Like, what are you talking about? I don't even remember that. And like, yeah, this was awesome. Like that really made a difference. And you're like, wow, that's crazy. And there's so many times that you don't really recognize that in the moment. And Napoleon Hill kind of takes it on that too, like against the other direction with failure. There's so many times that you just feel that failure and like that's all you can see. It's like you're in that fog and you can't get above it, you can't get around it, you can't get through it. So you're just like stuck there and you can only see as far as the fog will let you, and it's very confusing. And yet on the other side of that could be the potential greatness, could be the next thing. If nothing else, failure is part of every journey. And so if that's you, dear listener, push on.
Or that next step through the fog could be off a cliff. You never know.
Thanks, Brian. It's inspirational.
But I would still find it so much worse to just sit down crisscross applesauce and hope the fog goes away one day and shows you a clearer path, which is what most people not only do, but are currently doing. Let's just charge forward. And sometimes it's off a cliff, man. It happens, you know? But so far it's been water landings or landing on stacks of mattresses, and it was okay. And we dust off and hit it again. And we know a little bit more this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that quote it just kind of hit in one of the 5 mistakes for me. So thought it was good timing.
It is. And you know what else is good timing? Time for a review. It's good timing for that.
Always good.
Where we take the time out of the episode to highlight one of you is taking the time to highlight one of us or one of the episodes or the show in general. We always like doing this part because your motivation becomes our motivation. Brian, who are we spotlighting today?
Essential for success in the home services. 5 stars. This podcast has been absolutely essential to my success. The insights, mindset shifts, and practical strategies they share have helped me level up in both my personal and professional life. Every episode brings real, actionable advice that applies directly to my work in the trades. Whether you are new to the industry or a seasoned pro, this podcast will challenge you, inspire you, and help you grow. 5 stars all the way. That was by Allpone. All P1? Alpone?
I don't know.
All pony? But
all pony.
It was. It's probably all pony. That would be a Sparky. That one was left on my wife's birthday, February 7th. Happy birthday,
wow.
Mom. Awesome. Yeah, we are now into month 2 of 2025.
Okay. Well, appreciate the review, All Pony. We do take the time to thank you for that because you've taken the time to thank us. And it's not really about us. It's about hearing these types of stories and the impact that it's having, man. So, man, woman, whoever you are, faithful listener, thank you very much for doing that. And we wish you the best. Keep it up.
Yeah, man. That was 7.5 months ago, almost 8 months ago. Be cool to find out how it's going now. Where were you at then when you left that review? Whatever. I don't know if you're just running service calls, what was your conversion rate? What was your opportunity average? Right?
Yeah.
What did your Google reviews look like? How many club memberships were you cranking out? And what do those statistics look like today? And did you stick with it? Are you still listening? Are you applying? Are you executing? Got that note to self notebook?
Sounds like you're doing a nice little segue into our main topic today, Brian.
Yep.
So why don't we just get right to that? It's time for both of us to squeeze into your passenger seat right now. Well, it's just the two of us today, and we are talking about the top 5 mistakes that salespeople make. Now, whether you consider yourself a salesperson or not is irrelevant. These mistakes are common to people who are in the home services and who attempt to communicate to a client on a regular basis. And we're going to have some great concepts and conversation breaking these down today. And we're going to jump into number 1 right now, which is a lack of discipline.
I'm not going to do the whole hour on this, but I could, and I would like to.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
But, it's going to get pretty personal here pretty quickly. It's like me screaming at 20-year-ago me or me screaming at me today, who, in the F wheel, as we call it, the 4 Fs in the wheel. It's a pie chart with the exact same size triangle, 4 triangles in the circle. And it's faith, finances, fitness, family. And as we do it, it's on a scale. We'll just start with the first one. First quadrant is faith. On a scale of 1 to 10, Nate, and you listening in the driver's seat. 1 being you couldn't be any worse. 10 being the perfect version of yourself in your faith. How would you score yourself right now?
That's a good question.
All right. Let's not get the notepad and calculator out, buddy. Just throw a number out.
Do a 6.
All right. Nate's 6 in faith, by the way, for everyone else listening, including myself, would be like you would consider yourself an 11. My pastor at our church last weekend did a great sermon about Enoch, and just the legends of faith. And he was saying what it meant to walk with God. Like the Bible said, Enoch walked with God. And I was just thinking, who do I know that if they were to pass away soon, I would insist that on that headstone it says so-and-so walked with God. And I was just like, sorry to anybody I'm not thinking about right now, but one name popped into my head, and it was Nate Minnick. I was like, man, if he passed before me, which is highly unlikely because Nate has been so much better to his body than I have to mine in our 20s, I would go into my pocket to make sure that was carved on his headstone.
That's kind.
Yeah, so
6, back to the 6.
You're at a 6. All right, so next question is, and this is the same in all 4 quadrants. Next question would be, what would a 10 look like? Right? So what's the delta between you at 6 and you at 10? What would a 10 look like? And I'm looking for 3 things. Like I'm looking for you to say 3 different ways that you, and maybe it's for you listening, maybe it's important for you personally to be at your church, right? Maybe it's important for you to be reading Bible, praying, whatever your version of that is. So maybe it's those 3 things. Okay, so the next thing we do is, what can you start doing tomorrow? Not just that you could do, but as Jordan Peterson says, that you would do, that you actually would do. So give me 3 things you could start tomorrow that if you did them every day for the next 3 months until we meet again, it would put you closer to that 10. So what's one thing if you said, I only go to church every other month and I'd like to be there every week. All right. So go to church Sunday this week. All right. What's another one? Maybe you said you need to read more in your Bible or in books on your faith or whatever. So we get up in the calendar and we say, here's the time. You're putting it in the calendar, and that 30 minutes is not getting devoted to anything but that. Whatever time it has to be. And then the third one was prayer. Like, good luck. That's a struggle for me. So I don't know. I haven't figured that one out for myself yet. Like, I feel like I kind of do it all day, every day, where I'm either giving gratitude, asking for help, asking for clarity, asking for wisdom, asking for help for someone else. But I would say talk to God all day. But yeah, just kind of parking my knees and carving out dead silent time doesn't happen. Doesn't happen mostly. I guess it's kind of the opposite of faith, but because the many, many times I have done it, I've rarely felt like I was doing anything. That's a struggle for me. I just get too lost in my thoughts. I'll start getting negative. I'll start getting fear-based, which is me, normal. So I got to break out of it. Yep. And then you move to the next one. What's the next quadrant? Finances. Now, I'm not saying what 10 you would be 15 years from now, but what 10 you could be right now with your current income, your current credit score, where you live, what you're doing, whatever. And then in the next 3 months, what steps could you start taking tomorrow to get closer to that 10 version of you in your financial life? And oftentimes, most of the time, I would say it's an utter lack of clarity about your finances for most people, especially techs. How much debt do you owe? Not sure, but a lot. How much do you have in your savings account? I don't know. A couple G's, maybe. Probably not. How much in your checking? Couple hundred. Okay, and you got rent coming, you got your car note, you got your personal phone. Still don't understand the personal phone thing. I haven't had a personal phone. It's been a long time. If a company's going to pay me to have a phone, I'm going to use that one. I don't understand the logic of also having that monthly payment, but a lot of people do. So you got all these things that are coming out. Now, how much do you have coming in? What's your credit score? Oftentimes it's a question mark, right? But what would 10 you look like 3 months from now? okay, we have to get clarity on these things. So we just jot these things down. And here are 3 things that you're going to do for the next 3 months. And then we'll circle back. Fitness time. Usually it's around a 7. And it's almost always lose some body fat and half the time gain some muscle. I'd be stronger. I could take longer walks up a flight of steps without sitting down for a few minutes and catching my breath. It's things like this. And it's like, all right, so what do we need to start doing? And one easy one, if you're looking to lose weight and body fat, is to stretch the amount of time you don't eat in the morning. So if you're looking to lose body fat and you eat breakfast every day, let's just go ahead and make lunch your first meal. It hurts and it's very uncomfortable for about a week. And all of a sudden you just don't eat breakfast. And if you can stretch that to lunch and go on a longer fast, then cool, kudos, like do it. A lot of people eat 1 meal a day. I don't recommend it forever, but just make sure you get all your macros and your nutrition in that meal, and you drink tons of water and maybe even some electrolytes and salt throughout the day, especially if you're here with us in Arizona. But of course, consult your physician before before taking any of these steps, because believe it or not, I'm not a medical professional. If you needed a high school diploma to be a medical professional, I didn't hit that bar. So yeah, I hit every bar but that one in that area. So, and then you move to family. What is your family? If you're single, you got no kids, your circle, your friends. Like, who are you to your people? Or maybe your, mom, your parents, your grandparents, your uncles, your aunts. Are you the person you want to be to them? Scale of 1 to 10. And then what are 3 things you could start doing now to move in that direction? And then we'll circle back in 3 months and see where you landed, and we will set new ones. That's getting disciplined. But it can't be this crazy, foggy, I don't really know where I'm going. Your answer to your goals for everything is better, more, right? And you understand why it can't be that answer, although I spent most of my life with that as my answer to my goals. Because there's no target. So there's nothing to focus on. So there's nothing that clears out all the stuff that doesn't belong there. So we make targets, and doing the F wheel, scale of 1 to 10 is a great way to start.
Now, that's on the personal side. What about lack of discipline for the salesperson? What does that look like in the field?
Selling is a skill, not a game of blackjack where you're hoping to get the right card to make your hand, right? You're hoping to get the right call. That's all I hear about is like, need better calls, better calls, better calls, better calls. Like, better tech, better salesperson, better communicator. I love Jim Rohn's quote. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better.
Yes.
I can hear it in his voice. Yeah. But hoping for the lottery ticket to be the one that makes you rich, as opposed to getting out there and working your tail off and cutting out some expenses. And you can't really overemphasize working your tail off, right? It just takes a lot of work to accomplish stuff. It just does. A lot of thought, a lot of work, a lot of planning, implementing processes. The average rep treats selling like scratching lottery tickets. They think it doesn't require practice or consistency. It doesn't require investing your time and or money into learning a process and owning it. Discipline and training, routines and follow-up is what separates closers from drifters. These cats that are always moving to a different company and hoping they're going to get the calls that they quote unquote need at the next one. That's it for mistake number 1, bruv. Good place for a BCC plug.
That's true. So perhaps your discipline is around personal development, whether it's for work purposes or otherwise. But if it is for work purposes and you find yourself in the trades and you are looking to step into something that's going to not only challenge you, but improve you and show you the journey to improvement each step of the way, we have something called Blue Collar Closer, which is a school community, SKOOL, school community, that is designed just for people like you. And the entire concept here is taking Brian Burton's proven process and putting it into video format in short, digestible versions so that you can go at your own pace, come up with a system that works for you, and go kill it out there in the field. And like any investment, there's a return on that investment, and that return is as much as you put into it. There's also a financial investment, but the financial return, if you apply the principles, is going to far outweigh that. And we are seeing people
dominate out of there,
explode in their numbers. And it's really encouraging and exciting to see that, how this simple format, when applied through discipline, can have these types of results. If you are interested in more of that, you can go to bluecollarcloser.com and look into it.
Yeah, we needed it too, right? Because it's not been easy for us to put out, or I'll say me. Nate was probably always game, but it's not been easy for me to put out purchasable content when everything we've done on Waste No Day thus far has been free to consume and either apply it or don't apply it at your own discretion. When, all we get is positive feedback, because the people who don't do anything with it go back to living their mediocre lives and just flip back to listening to, I don't know, whatever they listen to. I don't know, sports radio or the news or what have you. And the people who are changed by it hop on and leave reviews, right? Or shoot us private messages on social media or whatever they do. So all we've really gotten was like good feedback and gratitude and positivity. But then the thought of, Brian Tracy beating me over the head to put out something that people could pay for to get more from us if they wanted to, it's somewhat terrifying. Like, I know what my training does for technicians. I've seen it more times than I can count. Nate's experienced it for a long time. But it's still difficult to put yourself out there like that. But the feedback's phenomenal. And even more so than what people are saying they're doing numbers-wise with the training, people are saying things like, these are the ones we should read. I stopped waking up to open social media. I now open Blue Collar Closer and see everybody's wins and congratulate people and read the comments on my posts. And it gets me more motivated to get up and get in my truck and do more of it.
Yeah, love it.
Right? It's cliche to say it's a community, but it's a community. It is a brotherhood/sisterhood. I think there's 4 women in there now, which is, I assume, twice the amount of female listeners to Waste No Day. So
easily.
Not sure how we doubled it, but nailed it. Yep. Coral Whale's in there now, which I think makes like 4 or 5, 6, something like that. Female BCC members. But yeah, so it's much more like that. It's like a Facebook group, except that you're a member or not of BCC, right? You're paying to be there. So you take it a little more seriously. And you can post pics of a job. And not only are you not going to get roasted, but people are going to congratulate you for busting your butt and taking care of the people you serve. And there's tons of feedback, and people do aim to make each other better. Like if you post a role play video of yourself, of your question for asking people to buy, you'll get a ton of hearts on it and a ton of people saying nice job and giving you kudos for even posting a video, because it takes guts. But you'll also get a few people, me being one of them. I don't ever want to have someone put a role play video in there where they don't get a way to make it better, ever. Because then what was the point? I mean, hopefully to brag, because that's the place to do it. But if we're not making you a little bit better, then why be there, right? So you'll get that feedback too, but always still kudos for posting up, because that takes, that takes grit to open yourself up like that. Post a video of yourself in the group. There's, I don't know, what is there now? 260 people in there from, I believe, 4 different countries: US, UK, Australia, Canada. 261 people. And people look forward to the live events, Wiser Wednesday, Thursday Q&A, which we just did a couple hours ago. And now there's a Monday evening live role play that's run by one of the members of the group. In the future, we will be adding at least one weekend event. The $4 million electrician, Logan Altland, has volunteered to run that event. Like, run it by your wife, bro. Yeah, so these are the kind of things we do. And there's a classroom with, I have no idea how many videos of me training the GoPro process, but a lot of them. And they're just 10, 15-minute short clip videos that you can take in a little bit at a time, and then PDR, practice, drill, rehearse, own it, and then move to the next video. PDR, own it, move to the next one, and so on and so forth. And for those who don't know, like forever, when I was building my sales presentation, I was reading books like How to Master the Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins, and Selling for Dummies by Tom Hopkins, and Closing for Dummies by Tom Hopkins, The Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy, occasional things like Influence by Dr. Robert Cialdini. And so far, I've only named authors who have been on the show. So let me try to keep that streak alive. But I was reading books, not audio, books, and then writing in a notepad the things they were talking about, and then trying to create it myself versus like Blue Collar Closer. I've done that for 21 years. Now, these things that I built that are making technicians make a lot more money, as they did for me when I was in a truck, I'm shooting video talking to you about it, and you can take notes. And then I do it live role play in the videos. So you see exactly how it's supposed to go. And you can just do it right back to your phone or tablet and record it and then play it for yourself. And then you can post it in the group, and we will roast you. No, and we'll give you feedback. Kudos for doing it and feedback to get better. Cool. So yeah, my son and I were on a drive recently, and we were talking about this, and I'm like, bro, I don't want to sound like that guy, but you guys selling techs today's day and age with the ability to have a thing like Waste No Day playing in your truck and Blue Collar Closer at your fingertips on your phone, it's a great time to be doing what we do for a living because this stuff is available. And, today we're going to go over 4 more of the 5 biggest mistakes that I believe I see salespeople make, both when I was in a truck and in leadership and myself over the years. But if you're serious about fixing these mistakes and leveling up your game, that's exactly what Blue Collar Closer is for. All it is, let's not leave out the monetary aspect. Yes, you have to invest to be part of that. Like, we give it all away on the podcast. 100% of it's been given away on the show. No question about it. But go find it all, right? It's a lot. So there's a monetary investment, but I mean, at the time we're recording this, it's less than $50 a week. To think that you won't make that back by being in this group is nonsensical. It doesn't even make sense. But if you're serious about fixing these mistakes, that's what Blue Collar Closer is for. Inside BCC, as we call it, you get the full GoPro system, live trainings, a community of home service pros in, I think, a dozen of the 17 industries listening to the show are in BCC. I mean, of course, plumbing, HVAC, electrical, garage door, roofing, solar, lawn care, maintenance. Think of anybody? Swimming pool sales, swimming pool cleaners, pest control, window and door sales. Yeah. All these industries are in there, right? Trying to get better with each other. Competitors, man. We're trying to build each other up. Sharpening each other every single day. This isn't theory. It's real stuff. It's scripts, real role plays, and real results. If you're tired of leaving money on the table, you want to start closing like a pro, join us today. Nate and I are in there every day. Go to bluecollarcloser.com and lock in your spot with the champions in there.
Yeah.
BlueCollarCloser.com. Hey, if you have questions for me and Nate about this, about Wiser Wednesday, if you're going to be in Phoenix soon and you want to come see the shop, you want to link up, you're going to be in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. You're going to Hershey Park. I don't know why you would go to Lancaster soon. And you want to get told no by Nate to tour his shop. Shoot us an email. service@wastenoday.net. service@wastenoday.net. Shoot us an email. We got your back.
All right. Well, moving on to number 2. So the first one was lack of discipline. Now, number 2 is talking more than listening.
Now, I like to phrase this one a little differently. What I call this is the majority of your sentences end in periods. On a sales call? Like, how are you getting answers from your client if your sentences don't end in question marks? When are they talking? Amateur salespeople, poor salespeople, dropout salespeople who now hate selling because if you do it well, you have to be ripping people off because I'm an idiot and weak and lazy and scared and never pushed through my comfort zone to get good at it. Amateurs think selling is about sounding smart. That's impressing. That's not selling. Pros know that selling is asking the right questions and shutting up long enough to hear the truth come out of the person you're serving. It's to get the clues that you need for the sale. Every missed clue is a missed close. So we do these role plays on the Blue Collar Closer Thursday live Q&As, the Thursday evening Q&A. Sometimes I have a whole hour worth of stuff to talk about, which today was one of those days. Did a little bit of back and forth with the people who were on the call, but majority of it was me yapping like this podcast episode is going to be. But one of the exercises we'll do is, here's what I'll do. I'll just say, Nate, real quick, as fast as you can, elevator speech, whatever. Sell me a whole home surge protector. Go. And I will start a stopwatch in 60 seconds. Boom. Right. And inevitably what's going to happen is we're going to catch the fact that one question was asked in 60 seconds in your entire presentation. So then we move to the role play game for this. You guys ready for this? Now, Nate is going to role play with another tech. And I'm going to show you the clock starting at 60 seconds. And you have that 60 seconds to ask as many questions leading toward interest in that product as possible. And it's a competition. There shall be only one winner, Highlander. Right? So that's the game. And what does that sound like? Well, how would I ask questions? What questions do I ask? Well, it's questions like, how much do you know about surges in your electrical system? Go ahead, Nate. Let's role play.
Well, you want me to role play as myself or as a normal homeowner?
Oh, God, not as yourself, dude. I want to get at least 2 questions out.
Not a whole lot, Brian. What are you talking about?
It's not something you've ever experienced?
No, I mean, I've been shocked by an electric fence before, but can't say anything beyond that.
How'd that feel?
I mean, wakes you up, but that's about it.
Yeah. How do you think that feels to your expensive appliances like your TVs, your washing machine, your refrigerator, your dishwasher?
I don't know. I mean, I've heard that that type of stuff is not good with the amount of electronics and everything that all the appliances are getting in them now, but I can't say that I've been able to like statistically prove it one way or the other, It's
statistically proven one way or the other. You were absolutely right. What you just said. It's not great for it. Right. So there are surges from things like lightning strikes and from the power company. Were you aware that there are also things called micro surges where the power is just coming in dirty is what they say, but it's just kind of a mixed pressure, so to speak, that the power's coming in and that kind of beats on the appliances. Were you aware of that?
No. What causes that?
Just an inconsistent I don't know, bro. I'm not an electrician. I'm going to guess. An inconsistent release of power from the power company. Right? You ever have, like, you're watching TV or whatever, and it's in the summer and the air conditioning kicks on and the lights flicker and the TV flickers a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
happens.
that.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just a weird drop or increase in the pressure of the power, so to speak. I'm relating this to water because it's what I do. But right. So these micro surges and big surges, they can be detrimental to things like your appliances. Do you have a lot of money invested in your appliances, TVs, computers, stuff like that?
Don't tell my wife. Yeah. Far more than I would care to admit. Yes.
Yeah. But definitely enough that it should be protected. Would you agree?
I mean, I guess I never really thought about it that way before.
Well, you have the surge protecting power strips on your PC, TVs, stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Of course.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things when you're at the Best Buy, you're like buying that TV, and I don't know. I just always heard that was the best practice, It's expensive TV.
Definitely a great practice. Let me ask you a question. If you had to guess, and I know you don't work for an appliance company, what cost more, your refrigerator or your living room TV?
Oh, my refrigerator. I just replaced it.
Your refrigerator or your washer and dryer?
Combined, probably about the same.
Okay. Well, so not cheap appliances.
No.
But for whatever reason, Best Buy, Fry's Electronics, what have you, has convinced you that the TV deserves a surge protecting power strip.
Yeah.
But the refrigerator,
now that you say that.
Well, Best Buy doesn't sell refrigerators, do they?
I don't know. It's not where I'd think to shop for one.
I don't think they do. I don't know. I don't go into Best Buy a lot, but yeah. So what are they doing? It's not that they're trying to get you to not buy one for every other appliance. It's just that they sold you the TV, right?
Right.
So here's a little add-on to protect it.
Yeah, of course.
Now, it would make more sense for them to help you understand that this can destroy all of your appliances, including by far your most expensive appliance. Do you know what that is?
My range? I don't know.
That would be your HVAC system.
Oh, yeah. Shoot, I didn't even think about that.
Anybody, I don't know how many minutes we've done this, but this has been a lot of minutes, probably. I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. But if you listened and you caught it, it was question after question after question after question by me. Almost every sentence that I spoke ended in a question mark. And the game is we do this for 60 seconds, and whoever asks the most questions in those 60 seconds wins. And that is the game to play. And it's the game to play because, like a lot of you listening, I understand. I used to hear sales trainers all the time say, you got to ask more questions. You got to keep the client talking. You got to ask more questions. And I'm like, what freaking question can I ask him? I'm presenting a water heater, right? Well, then I had to answer that question myself. Why? I don't know. Because there was just nobody out there training it. And like many parts of the GoPro selling system, I regret to say, over the last 21 years, I had to come up with the answers myself because the questions were good by the trainers out there, but I was never able to get good answers from them. So we built it, man. We just had to build it. But yeah, that's what I mean by too many sentences end in periods, not enough end in questions. And what was happening to you, Nate, while I was asking you questions and you were trying to come up with answers? This is my favorite part of it.
Well, as the homeowner, it's making me think through things that I probably never thought about before. I'm engaging with you in a way that would have felt awkward had you just been like, or standoffish. I would have been standoffish. You're like, so, you have any interest in a whole home surge protector? And I'd be like, no.
Yeah. Why would I? You have not given me a reason to have any interest.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm just sitting there asking questions. And oftentimes, if I'm doing it like that and I know I'm about to do a question presentation, I'm cracking open the notepad And if he says yes, I'm just going to write the word yes. And if he says my refrigerator costs more than the TVs, I'm going to write fridge. And if he's like, combined, the washer and dryer and fridge cost about the same, and I'm just going to write equal. I'm just jotting a note down and looking at it. One, to show him that I'm paying attention. But two, when I flip it now and go for the sale, I'm going to look back at those notes and say, oh yeah, like you said, that, protecting that refrigerator would be important because you just bought it. Because he said he just bought it and he spent X amount of dollars on it, right? And he was not thrilled about the amount of money he spent on that Sub-Zero refrigerator. So that's how you use questions instead of statements. And man, if you use any of the recording software out there, Rilla, Xero, Sales Pro, Field Spark, I don't know the other ones, but I'm sure there are more. Your phone, your digital recorder. This is one of those things you want to listen for and ask yourself. And another good thing to do is get game up in the shop if there's several employees and say, let's do this exercise. And just go to one of your boys and say, sell me a electronic air filter for the HVAC system. Sell me a whole home water conditioning system. Right? And then let them do it. And then jot down how many questions and how many sentences ended in periods. And then say, now let me do it. And you do the way you would normally do it. And then fill them in on what you heard on this episode. And now let's play the game. 60 seconds to ask as many questions as possible. Now, I didn't say, isn't it beautiful outside? I'm so glad the heat's going away, right? I didn't ask that question because that wouldn't count. So, mistake number 2, as Nate said, talking more than listening. As I said, too many sentences end in periods, not enough end in question marks. Every missed clue is a missed close, and you can only get clues by asking questions and letting them speak.
Well, I think it ties in nicely with number 3, Brian, which is presenting instead of discovering. So how do we even get to the place where we begin the questions in the first place?
Well, you have to start with getting permission to discover, right? But presenting instead of discovering, it's more like, the tech that I'm just trying to think of what trade I want to use. It's like my garage door won't open or close is what you got called out for. Garage door's closed, so they can't get it to open. They answer the front door. So you throw on your floor savers and you walk in the front door with them and go around to the garage. You look at the opener button and you realize hey, the button's kind of smashed in a little bit, right? Or that they're trying to use the remote to open it from their car. And you realize the battery's dead in the remote. And you're like, here, snatch one out of your back pocket, throw a new battery in, good to go, right? Or maybe you just start presenting whatever the answer is. Maybe the wall button won't work. And I don't know how long those last, but maybe they just die, right? Whatever little contactor in that thing just goes kaput. And you immediately start presenting the new button to open the garage door that's 18 years old and has never had any maintenance on it. You present. I'll even say you pitch, because that's the definition. Instead of discovering or diagnosing. And our clients this day and age, they don't want a brochure. They want someone who understands their issues. And if you end there and you never open the garage door and check the hinges and check the wheels and maybe disengage it and then just roll it open yourself manually and listen for the squeaks and cracks and pops and vibration, you don't know if they have any issues. They might not even know if they have any issues. But man, if a pro came out there like the day after you were there and did all these things, would they ever call you back out? Of course not. Slow down, ask questions, and guide them along instead of immediately solving what you think is the only problem they have or just spraying them down with information. All right? Questions. How old is the garage door? It's original with the house. Oh, okay. How old is the house? It's 18 years old. Okay. How often do you have maintenance performed on this garage door? Maintenance performed? Are we supposed to have maintenance? Okay. And just on and on we go. How would you say, scale of 1 to 10? 1 being you love it, no issue whatsoever. 10 being you're ready to move out. How loud would you say your garage door is when it opens and closes? Is there anyone sleeping above the garage door that it's an issue for when it opens and closes? How would you say it keeps the heat out in the summer and the cold out in the winter? How does it do for bugs? You get a lot of bugs in the garage? Do you feel perfectly safe underneath the door when the family's underneath the door or the car is underneath the garage door when it's open? No issues there? Okay. But yeah, you're just asking questions that are opening doors, causing the client to visualize things. And then you just sit back and you wait for them to fully finish answering each question and just notate these things. And you never know what you're going to end up with. And hopefully while we're doing this with a surge protector and a garage door, whatever industry you are in, it's turning lights on for you and how to do this in your industry. Again, slow down, ask questions, and guide the client instead of just squirting information all over them.
It truly is a process of discovery as you are trying to help the client even identify their own interest in what often is a confusing and or place of ignorance with so many of the products and services in the home services industry. All right, well, we've made it through 3. Let's check on number 4, which is chasing easy wins instead of building trust. Brian, how do you define this one?
Phew. That one's old. Like, I don't know how much that's happening in today's day and age because everybody's conversation's being recorded by a Ring doorbell and they know it. And people are just posting reviews for everything that happened. But man, in the day, back when I was younger, I would see technicians, salespeople, whatever, getting pretty aggressive and out of control to close, angry when they didn't close, downright disrespectful at times, burn the relationship. You know, I'm sure in this day and age, I saw it on video on a news clip that I was part of where all these technicians came in and lied to the client, got me a little $1,000 cash bonus for being one that did not do that. But I saw it happen, and I know it still happens where you go in and you'll lie to the client or mislead them to get a sale for that easy, quick win instead of building trust by maybe even taking a short-term loss, meaning you didn't make any money or close this call. But like Dr. Robert Cialdini said for us to do, the author of Influence and the author of Persuasion, he said, try to remember on every call to point out something that you're not recommending because while you could, it doesn't really need it. See, we know that we don't do that, right? But the client doesn't know. So like get credit for it. Say like, this is something that could be recommended, but frankly, as far as I'm concerned, you've got a good few years left on it, but something you definitely want to put some maintenance into and just keep an eye on. That kind of thing. But chasing down that easy win and sacrificing your soul for it, it's just going to make you hate the game. You're never going to develop to be good at it. And you're going to burn so many clients that you don't have that book of business. Like one of our techs, Jack, had day before yesterday, like one of his clients, they'll wait for him, like $11,000 sale, like there for the taking. Like it was just they were waiting on the kitchen table for him, right? Because he's their guy and whatever he recommends gets done. Why is that? Because they trust him. Why do they trust him? Because he built that trust over time. And this happens all the time to guys who have been doing it well, doing it right for several years. You start building up this following of clients. So that's more what I meant by building trust. Undisciplined reps burn bridges for a quick sale. Real professional salespeople and technicians play the long game. Trust, credibility, and integrity compound. When clients trust us, oftentimes we won't even get objections. They just do what we say needs to be done and they're happy to do it.
That's good. Well, these have all been great, Brian. And just to recap here, number one, top mistakes that salespeople make: having a lack of discipline. Number two, talking more than listening, or as you put it, ending your sentences with periods instead of question marks. Number three, presenting instead of discovering. Number four, chasing those easy wins instead of building trust. Why don't you round it out here with number five?
No surprise here, right? I ran this by a buddy in the trades. Actually, I sent it to my twin brother too. Just said, I'm working on these five, like, what do you see? And I gave him mine, and it's funny. Both my brother and the other guy I ran it past changed it to number one, this, number two, this, number three, this, number four, this, and number five, this. Mistake number five, which would definitely be number one, the biggest mistake that I see technicians and salespeople in the home services make, is not asking for the sale, not asking the client to take ownership with a yes or no question. This is the ultimate self-sabotage. We can run a flawless call, start to finish, do everything perfectly, right? I mean, nail it from top to bottom, and still walk away with a goose egg, a lower conversion rate, a lower opportunity average, and go home angry for the day because we never ask them to take it. Asking isn't pushy. Asking is leadership. And as Brian Tracy said, come on, Nate, you know this one.
Oh, struggling on that one.
The world
it goes to the askers. Yes, sir.
Belongs to the asker. Salespeople don't usually lose to competition in the home services. We lose to ourselves. Fix your discipline. Learn to listen. Discover before you present. Build trust instead of chasing shortcuts. And above all, if you present something, ask them to take it. Period. That's how we win. That's what gets it done.
Well, great list today, Brian. And I hope that all of our listeners have really appreciated the dialogue, even some of the role play and the concepts that you revealed here. And I'll recap those in just a minute. But if you did like this episode, or something really stood out to you as perhaps one or two of the things that you're struggling with, we'd love to hear about it. And perhaps BCC might be a great answer for you, or maybe you just need somebody to run it by and get some motivation with. Also, highly encourage you to find accountability partners to level up on some of these things that are struggles for you, which is really important to have that regular touch with somebody who knows you and is going to ask you those questions. But overall, whether it's at work or it is in the personal life, we could all use more discipline. We could all use more listening questions. We could all try to be more curious. We could all work on building trust, and we could all become better salespeople and communicators. So that list again was having a lack of discipline, talking more than listening, presenting instead of discovering, chasing easy wins instead of building trust, and not asking for the business. Great topics and great answers today, Brian.
Oh, before we close, Steve Jobs said on number 5, I feel like we didn't do enough. We should do a whole other episode on number 5. Steve Jobs said, most people never pick up the phone and call. Most people never ask. And that is what separates the people who do things from the people who just dream about things. Tony Robbins said, ask for what you want. Ask boldly. You don't get in life what you deserve. You get what you ask for. There are a few more. Nora Roberts said, if you don't go, yeah. Yep, well, it is a great place.
It is a great place.
You're absolutely right, Nate.
And that is a wrap for this episode. We hope that you did enjoy it. Oh, you're gonna keep going? We're gonna keep going.
Yeah, we got a Waste No Day boot camp coming, baby.
There it is.
Sunday, Monday, November 2nd and 3rd, Waste No Day boot camp. If you want to party with us in person, get the GoPro system live, train with us, role play with us, come on stage with me. You're welcome to it. I do ask for volunteers to come up on stage and role play with me. And we do tell everyone to, as you're coming up, wait, give your phone to your neighbor there and have them record video in case you want to see it later or make a post or whatever. And then we'll make fun of you, embarrass you in your own video. But yeah, if you want to do it, it's in Fort Lauderdale this year, first week of November at the Margaritaville Resort. Our first boot camp on the beach, baby. Here's to more of those, please. Thank you. go to wastenoday.com. And when you're on the website, you'll see a boot camp link.
Awesome. Well, we hope that you enjoyed today's episode and that it has hit home for you. If you are struggling with any of these 5 or more than one, we'd sure love to hear about it. And I'm sure you have some friends who'd love to hear about it as well. So share this episode around. Let us know what you liked about it and how you are going to change the mistakes that you are currently making. We're going to leave you now with our weekly challenge, which always is the same: to choose to wake up each and every morning and waste no day.